Okay, so today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing my first ever mid-monthly wrap. I am so excited about this. I didn't even know that this was a thing, but believe you me, if I knew that this was a thing, I would have probably implemented this last year. Because here's the thing, you guys, I read on average about 12 books a month. By the time I get to the end of that month and I'm doing the monthly wrap, it's very hard for me to recall everything about the first book I read that month because it was so long ago. I will remember big things about it, but maybe not certain specifics or certain even just feelings that I had or associations that I had myself with the book. So I love this. So I was over at a reading sprint of Zachary's on Books and Bops last week, and this came up in conversation that, some people do mid-month wraps, and I said, that's a thing! I need to do that. So maybe this is something that I will implement from now on. We will see. But I think it's a good idea for me to get 2 weeks through the month and do a mid-month wrap. And then at the end of the month, I will just quickly go through the star ratings of all of these books that I'm showing in the mid-month wrap and then direct you back to this video and focus on the other ones. So are you cool with that idea? Let me know. I mean, it's just, I try to keep my videos at a decent length, and when you read 12 to 14 books in a month, and you're trying to keep it down to 15 minutes, it literally gives you enough time to go, I then read this book, I gave it this, and let me try and tell you in 10 seconds what it's about, and in 5 seconds how I felt. It's not enough time. But anyway, it is a monthly wrap despite the fact that it is mid-month, so let's do my favourite thing when it comes to monthly wraps by putting the stats onto the screen for this mid-month wrap in 3, 2, 1, go. For the first half of December, I read a total of 6 books comprising of 2 fantasy, 1 LGBTIQ+, 2 cozy mysteries, and 1 thriller. For my age ratings, I read 4 YA and 2 adult books. For my lengths, I read 2 tomes, 1 3/4 tome, and 3 half tomes. For my star ratings, I have 1 5-star and 4 4-stars. So a lot of 4 stars, which is still a solid read. Let's get on to the books that I read for the first 2 weeks in the month of December. First of all, I'm just going to give a shout out to The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakovic. Unfortunately, I DNF'd this book today. My goal was actually to get through this book before I did this mid-month wrap with you guys, but I DNF'd it, and I don't know if it's a DNF or if it's a DNF shelve for now, and I'll get back to it. So my issue with this book is that I kept missing important parts, and this book has so much detail to it. And I don't mean describing things like objects or whatever. It has so much detail and thread that we're unspooling as we're going along. And if you miss one thing, you're working to catch up. I feel like I've missed 3 big things, and they're not explained over and over again. It's like explained once, and if you miss it, you're out of the loop. So I just got to a point where it was just, I don't know, frustrating me a little bit because I didn't feel like I had the time to go back and start it again. So I'm counting it now as a DNF, but it may end up being a shelve that I pick up when I do have more time next year. And now on to the books that I read in the first 2 weeks of December 2021. The first book that I read was this book, City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. This is a YA fantasy. It is also book number 6 and the final book in the Shadowhunters series. I end up giving this book 4 stars, and let me tell you why. Being that this is the final book in the series, there's obviously not a lot I can say, but I think an expectation for any final book in any series, regardless of the genre, what we're expecting is for everything to tie together, to be wrapped up, for us to reach that conclusion. Unfortunately, this book is really long. It's like 600 and something odd. 640 pages, basically, for this edition. And it took until the 3/4 mark for us to finally get to the conclusion of the series, because I personally felt like we were just stuffing around for the first 3/4. Some people are going to feel offended with me saying that, but this is just my personal opinion. Other people really loved the first 3/4. I just didn't. I'm a plot-driven reader, not a character-driven one, so take that with a grain of salt. And I also found the first 3/4 to be rather dense. I'm saying that in a neutral sense. Like, I'm not trying to knock Cassandra Clare at all. It's just, it felt very dense to get through. So I felt happy once I got to the 3/4 mark because the conclusion was amazing. but it just took forever and a day to get there. So I did dock a star for that, and I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I'm really happy that I read the series, and I will see how I go. I would like to read the Magnus Bane Chronicles at some point next year, so if you want to buddy read that with me, let me know in the comments below, and we'll have a good time. The next book that I read for the first 2 weeks of December 2021 was this book, New Moon, by Stephanie Meyer. This is also a YA fantasy. It is book number 2. There is no 2 on the side of the cover. This is book number 2 in the Twilight series. So in the month of October, I read Twilight because I was craving a reread for the first time in 10 years. I loved it so much, I needed to read me some New Moon right now, right away. So I did. And look, overall, I enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. The book opens up with the first quarter of the book being our main character. Her name is Bella. Bella is very angsty, hence why I would call her, if you see me on a reading sprint, you'll know this, I call her Angsty Bella. So we have Angsty Bella for the first quarter. I did not enjoy that at all. But once Bella learns something, so there's another character in this book, this is spoiler free, there's a character in this book called Jacob. Bella finds out a secret about Jacob. Once she finds out that secret, she's no longer angsty. And what we get from this book is just like what I got with book 1, which is what I loved. We get a whole ton of world building. I love the world building of this series. That is a term that I did not know prior to my booktube career, the term world building. But now that I do, I can say that's exactly what it is. In book 1, again, trying to keep it all spoiler free, but if you've read it, you know. In book 1, we deal with a character by the name of Edward, and we get a lot of world building about him and his background. In book 2, we get a lot of world building about a character named Jacob, him and his background, which Edward and Jacob's backgrounds are very, very different. And I love the world building of this series. In December, I don't want to read anything too dark. It's the holiday season, so I want light and fluffy. I'm literally reading one thriller at the beginning of the month, but otherwise I want light and fluffy. Otherwise, I would read Eclipse right away. So my goal is to read Eclipse in January, if I remember. Let's hope I do. But I gave this book 4 stars. Once we got over Angsty Bella, I really enjoyed this book. I had so much fun with it. I highly recommend it. A lot of people don't like New Moon, and that's totally fine. Some of you do, though. I have been reading the comments, and I love it. Some of you are commenting when I talk about New Moon, saying that you love New Moon. So thank you. Thank you for those of you who have come out of the woodwork to state the unpopular opinion. I really appreciate that because I love New Moon too. It's not my favorite, but I do love it. 4 stars. The next book that I read in the first half of December was this book, Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertelli. A little bit of history. Earlier on this year, I read this book, Love, Simon by Becky Albertelli. I gave this book 3 stars. I went into this book really cautious because of my thoughts of Love, Simon. This book could not have been any more different. Have you ever had a moment where you pick up a book and you're reading through it, you're enjoying it, you get to the final page, you finish the book, you close the book, and you say to yourself, this is exactly the book I needed right now. That is Kate in Waiting for me. I needed something light and fun, and that is exactly what this book is. So this book is a YA LGBTIQ plus book that follows Kate, so it's a singular perspective that follows Kate, and we also have her best friend, who is Anderson. Kate is a straight female high schooler, and Anderson, her best friend, is a gay high schooler boy. And they're involved in their school's productions, theatre group, whatever you want to call it. We called it production back in my day. And I was in all of my school's productions. I loved them. Loved this. That's brought up a lot. But I feel like the main point of the book, despite the fact that the musical theatre side of it is very heavy in the book, and I loved that, was that Kate and Anderson are so close that they usually share crushes on guys. They both have a crush on this guy by the name of Matt. The problem is that in this book, for the first time in their lives, in their friendship, Matt returns the love to one of them. And it becomes a question of how can they navigate their friendship with the love being returned and reciprocated to just one of them. So how do they deal with that? This was great. It was also narrated by one of my favorite characters from the TV show The Real O'Neills, who the actress's name is Bebe Wood. I said Bebe in my reading vlog because I thought it was Bebe, but it's Bebe. Bebe Wood. I love her. This is the only book I think she's ever narrated before, but she did a smashing job. If she ever narrates a book again, I want to listen to it because she just made it so much fun. Becky Albertalli did an amazing job too. I highly recommend this. If you want light, fluffy, fun, not too serious, go with this. It was exactly what I needed. I gave it 5 stars. The next book that I read hasn't arrived yet. I have ordered it. I ordered it a while ago. It should be here tomorrow or the next day. But for now, we'll put it up on the screen. And that was this book. It was 12 Slaves of Christmas by Jacqueline Frost. This is an adult cozy mystery, and it was my second cozy mystery ever. I loved this book. So this is a book that follows a girl by the name of Holly. It is set in a town called Mistletoe, which is set in Maine. Thank you to my commenter who let me know in the comments below that Mistletoe is set in Maine, in America. So thank you, I appreciate it. Mistletoe in Maine. And this town is obsessed with Christmas, but I say that in the best possible way. Everything they can do to celebrate the fact that it's Christmas, they do. To the point, you guys, where not even halfway through November, Mr. Francy is singing Christmas carols. Mr. Francy is singing Christmas carols and being all Christmas, 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 and we're not even in December yet. That's how great this book is. That's how great Jacqueline Frost is. So, I love this world. I'm used to saying world when it comes to fantasy, but yeah, for the sake of this cozy mystery. I love this world. I love Mistletoe. It is a cozy, small town, neighborhood type thing. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. The characters are wonderful. I love it, I love it, I love it. The only thing I didn't like was the reveal at the end. It is a cozy mystery, and with cozy mysteries, there's always a crime that's trying to be solved, you know, whodunit type thing. I did not like the reveal. But that didn't change how I felt about the book overall, because I love the atmosphere of this book so much that I went on to read book 2 not too much later. I gave this book 4 stars. If you want a Christmassy read that is Christmas, Christmas, Christmas to the umpteenth degree, this is the one you gotta read. The next book that I read was this book, Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus. This is a YA thriller, and I also gave this book 4 stars. This is my third Karen M. McManus book that I've read this year. I did not know about Karen M. McManus until this year, but I read One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next, and now Two Can Keep a Secret. I've heard there's a book out called The Cousins. Maybe I'll get to that one too. I just love her as an author. I gave this book 4 stars. So the basic premise of this book is that we have a killer out there who is trying to kill the girls at the local high school in Echo Ridge that are nominated for prom queen, and so we're trying to find out who that is. I love Karen M. McManus's character work. I said earlier on, I'm not a character-driven reader. I'm a plot-driven reader for sure, but I love Karen M. McManus's character work, especially with her boys. I'm not at all trying to be sexist here. Generally, I love following the girls or the women in books, but the way that Karen M. McManus writes, I love how she writes her boys. In One of Us is Next, I found my fictional boyfriend of the year, Knox, who I call my Noxy, and in this book, I love Malcolm. So there you go. She writes boy characters so well. Is it just me? Is this an unpopular opinion? Let me know in the comments below. Shout out to the sprayed edges as well. Love it. I don't usually have sprayed edges, so woo. Yeah, I enjoyed the story. As with 12 Slaves of Christmas, I did not like the reveal. I really thought it could have been a lot more creative, but I enjoyed the story. So, as with 12 Slaves of Christmas, 4 stars. And the final book that I read within the first 2 weeks of December was this book, which is 'Twas the Night Before Christmas by Jacqueline Frost. This is book number 2 in the Christmas Tree Farm Mysteries series. So it's book number 2 after 12 Slaves of Christmas. And Tiffany from the Beach Bum Bookworm is doing a buddy read of book number 3 on the 30th of November. So I wanted to be done with the first 2 books before then so I could get involved. And you know what? Book 2 for me, my thoughts and feelings on book 2 were very much the same as book 1. I did not like the reveal. I just didn't. I really thought that Jacqueline Frost could have gone many ways. Some people loved the reveal. I just personally didn't like it. That's fine. It is what it is. But I still love the culture in the town and the characters. And oh my gosh, if you've read this series, can I just give a shout out to a character by the name of Cookie? I love Cookie. She's my girl. I'm going to jump into the book. I'm just going to go and live there. And I'm going to go and hang out with Cookie all day long. Seriously. But these books, these Jacqueline Frost Christmas Tree Farm Mystery Series books, are so fantastic. If you want to feel Christmassy, this is what you read. I love Christmas, and this was just, oh my gosh. And I'm not just saying that. There are some books that have Christmas in there somewhere, and then there are some books that talk about Christmas a little bit more. This series, it's like Jacqueline Frost is obsessed with Christmas, but in the best way. Every chance she gets to talk about Christmas and celebrate Christmas for what it is. And being a cozy mystery, we get all the feels of the warm apple cider, as well as the joy of playing games that they call the reindeer games, where they do all these different activities to celebrate Christmas. And oh my gosh, it's just so amazing. I stumbled across Cozy Mysteries for the first time in late 2021. I think I'm becoming a bit obsessed with Cozy Mysteries. I mean, all the feels, literally. Oh my gosh, loving the cozy. 4 stars from me. Again, I did have to dock a star. I did not appreciate the reveal, but I love this town. And you guys, I'm so sorry, but it is my time to announce that I am now going to be leaving BookTube because I'm jumping into the book and I'm going to go and live in Mistletoe, Maine. I'll write you a postcard. Bye. I mean, seriously, if you want a Christmas book, you need to pick up this series and just read it. And if you're not someone who's a fan of mysteries, then just try to ignore the mystery side of it and enjoy it for the culture and the atmosphere of the town. It is the best Christmas series that I've read. Seriously. Oh my gosh. You have to read this. And now for everyone's favourite game that we like to call Up, 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 Up. These are the physical copies of books that I have on me. So some of the books that I read for the first 2 weeks of December 2021. What books did you read in the first 2 weeks of December 2021? And which was your favourite? Let me know in the comments below. Again, thank you guys so much for all of your love and your comments and your likes and subscribing. You guys, we have made it to the 300 mark. I cannot believe it. I'm sorry that I'm getting a bit excited over here, but I did not think it was going to happen. A lot of the time I was kind of circling around the late 80s, early 90s, 280s, 290s. We have made it to 300. Where's the balloons? Let's just, let the balloons fall from the ceiling. We did it. Thank you so much. I feel all the love. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit really excited here, but I feel all of the love and I really, really, really appreciate it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Leave a comment in the space below if you would like a shout out in my next video to celebrate that we've now made 300. And if you have any ideas of what you think I should do to celebrate having now made it to 300, please let me know because I'm looking for ideas to celebrate it. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it. Letting you guys go with peace, blessings, and so, so, so much love. Please be kind and love one another. And of course, happy reading!